Here we are with our third tutorial on Photoshop. What we are going to be looking at in this tutorial are paint and drawing tools. So I opened up a new document that's 7 by 5 inches. I'm just going to run through some of these tools. They're fairly simple. If you ever played on the computer on any sort of art application, you know basically how these work. So if we look over here on the left, there's one that looks like a paintbrush, and surprise, it's a brush tool. You can see the little triangle, so that means there's more tools in there. The two tools that we're going to be looking at in here are the brush tool and the pencil tool. So I'll click on the pencil. Up here in the options bar, there's a couple of things that you should be aware of. One, right here where it says 1, this is the size. So I can, right now it's at 1 pixel, which is absolutely tiny. There's 37 pixel, you can see what that looks like, and then you can also obviously get even bigger. There's the hardness, so right now we're 100% hard, which just means the edges are really crisp and clean. You can get a little softer. Pencils, though, for the most part, are just going to be pretty harsh. The opacity is pretty fun to work with, so that just means the opaqueness of everything. So 100% means you can't see through it. If I change that to 50 or 48%, you can see that it's lighter. So you can change how opaque your tools are. And you can layer, and it looks kind of neat. Now say you don't want to use black, you want a color. So we go over here down below, and this is the color swatches here. We just double click, and then we can find whatever color we feel like. Okay, so that's the pencil. If we go over to our brush tool, we can see that some things are the same, so size, and then the hardness, and then the opacity is the same. But the big difference between the brush tool and the pencil tool is the edges. So you can see this has a really nice soft edge as opposed to the really harsh edge that the pencil tool has. And I can zoom in to show you even more. So this is the brush and this is the pencil. You can just see the difference there. Okay, now if I go back over here, I can see there's actually different types of brushes. Some of them are fun ones that you can just mess around with. If we go over here to this little circle guy, you can see that if we scroll down, there's all these even more different brushes that you can try. If I just click on one, I'm just replacing mine, and there's just more that you can play around with. So you can get lost in this, doing this for a really long time, and that's fine. It's kind of fun to play with. There's some ducks, and butterflies are always nice. Okay. Don't worry about the mode, just keep it normal, and don't worry about the flow. Keep it at 100%. So those are those two tools. They're down here. There's the eraser tool. Shortcut is E. And guess what? It erases. Once again, you can change the size up here. Bigger, smaller. You can change the hardness. So if it has a nice soft edge or that hard edge, you can change the opacity of it. So how much it erases. Don't worry about the background eraser or magic. No need. Below the eraser is the gradient tool and paint bucket tool. So paint bucket tool, I'm sure you guys have all seen, you select an area that you want, click, and it fills in that entire area with a color. I know I'm not going over anything that's shocking or surprising, but it's always good to know. The gradient tool is pretty fun. So you pick an area. If we look up here in the options, I click here, I can click on some sort of gradient that I want. I click and I drag and it throws down a gradient. Now let's say I don't want it over everything, I just want it in this area right here. So what I would do is I would take my magic wand that we learned about last lesson, click on that area, and then put in my gradient. And the gradient tool works, you click and you drag. The longer you drag, the more spaced out the colors are. If I do something short, they're all bunched up. Okay. And you can change whichever gradient you want. Once again, if I click that little circle, there's even more gradients that you can pick from. Pretty. So that's kind of fun to fill in different objects with a gradient. When I'm done filling in the gradient, I don't want that selection anymore. I can go select, deselect, or I can just use the shortcut. Let's see, what else do we want to learn? Don't worry about 3D material drop tool. I don't even know what that is. Okay, we go down here. The last tool that we're going to be looking at in this tutorial is the shape tool. So it looks like a splatter. If I click it, I can see there's all these other different tools in there. Rectangle, polygon, line. All you do is you click on it, and then you can see that you can have a fill inside of it if you want. You can have a stroke, which just means the outline. So I'm going to have an outline, and you can change the thickness of the outline. So I'm good with that. So I just click and drag diagonally to get whatever shape I want. And you can see that I now have that pink rectangle with like a purple border. Okay, pretty neat. Okay, the last thing in the shape that you want to look at is the custom shape tool. And this is just where all the weird shapes are at. You can see there's a whole bunch of them. But same concept. So I find whatever one I want. Snowflake. Okay, I can change the color of it. Click and drag. I don't want a stroke. You can make a whole bunch of them. You can change the color. It's pretty exciting. Okay, and that is all there is, I believe, for our painting tools. We have the brush, the pencil, we have the gradient and the paint bucket, we have the eraser tool if you need it, and you have the shape tool. And that's it.